skipping press conferences earlier in the year.
Yeah. All right, questions for Coach?
These last few days back in Tucson, does it feel like it's just kind of like a little bit of normalcy, like the regular season?
For me, 100%. I don't know if the energy in the community is like that, but to be honest with you, I haven't left my house very much. It's been takeout and kind of relaxing at home and just trying to get prepared for this week.
You've kind of always used that you want to treat every game like a normal game, like there's nothing different.
100%. I think that's important, is just, us kind of, this afternoon we're going to practice and, we took a couple days off and kind of getting back to it and, getting back out on the court together and, getting the engine revved up a little bit and trying to find our rhythm. And yeah, this is another normal week.
In terms of the practices this week, is there, you mentioned normal. Do you try to keep it like a normal game week? Are there changes just because of the structure of this event?
Listen, there's always subtle changes, when you're taking road trips and doing that stuff. But yeah, for the most part, I think we for the past couple of weeks, we've been going out 2 days early. This one you go out 3 days early, so that makes a little bit of a difference. But this gives you an extra day to practice on the game court, so that's a good thing, and we'll try to take advantage of that. But my message to our guys was pretty simple, like the Final Four is an event, but it's an event for the fans, and we're the participants. So our experience is going to be a little different, and if you want to experience the Final Four as a fan, either you play for a team that didn't make it there, or you can go when you're older. In the future. And so we're going to go in with a business-like approach. And, we're going and, obviously the goal would be to win another 4-team tournament. And the only way you win a 4-team tournament is you try to find a way to win your first game. And we know that's going to be an incredible challenge.
That said, you said you stayed at home a lot. Did you have to tell your players to lie low more than normal, stay out of restaurants or whatever? What's it?
I didn't tell them anything. I think our guys are pretty low-key to begin with for the most part. But, no, I honestly, I gave them, all day Sunday off from me. I met with them for like 10 minutes yesterday when they were probably coming in, and I'm sure some of them were lifting, shooting, doing some rehab type stuff. But, no, I just told them, get rest, get your energy right, get your mentals right, and I can't wait to have a good practice tomorrow. That was my message.
Coach, you said in San Jose that Jack Murphy has pretty much done all the scouts. Why did you make the decision to kind of go to that? Because normally those are spread out between.
Yeah, well, listen, our whole staff gets credit. We have lots of people doing lots of things. Jack's kind of, led the presenting of the scout. I just think this time of year it's important to get a consistent voice. Your team's always evolving over the course of the season, and you find little things from one game to another that can be impactful, and you try to grow those things, because there's a recency for the players that they can connect with on things. So I think sometimes just kind of simplifying things and having kind of one main scouting voice, obviously alongside me, is a great combination. But the rest of our staff's done an amazing job, whether it's, from personnel or special situations, or advanced scouting other teams. You have lots of guys doing lots of different jobs that collectively add up into to Murph kind of presenting and putting together a scout, and then me kind of, doing my role of making sure we execute it.
Coach, how much of the preparations once you get to Indianapolis will center on the depth perception of shooting in a football stadium versus a basketball arena?
We're just going to get in there and start shooting. We're not going to, I'm not a scientist. I don't know. Bruce and I have had lots of talks over the years about oxygen in the blood and things like that. But yeah, I don't have anything on this one. So, I've played in these things before, and I think you go in and you treat it as a normal basketball game, and if it impacts shooting, then it probably impacts shooting for both teams. But we're going to go in there and just we'll get plenty of shots up and plenty of practice time to try to acclimate and get comfortable.
This is the 25 years since the Final Four, and I know you've been level as usual. But do you feel like there's a little pressure off that maybe that makes it easier?
I don't know. Nothing's ever easy, and the moment you think it's easy, it's over. And so I wouldn't say easier. I would say just from my personal experience, two things. So I was at a program that had done really well and had never made a Final Four. And when we made the first one, it was obviously a big deal. But we didn't have a history of having been there before. So there wasn't necessarily that heartache that goes with not being where you had been before. And to me, I think Tucson and the program was wearing it a little bit. I do. And, because we've had so many good players and so many good teams, and, I'm sure we could go through 10 scenarios where like, yeah, they could have made it if, and just to have, my guess would be 10 out of those 10 teams out of those 25 years probably have been good enough to go to a Final Four. If one thing or another went their way. And it didn't happen. So to be able to kind of to get over that hurdle, I really felt a collective sense of joy and relief from the community. But again, guys, you're out amongst the people a lot more than I am right now. So, and that's with intent, because I don't want to be out, feeling any different than I normally do, because I don't think me feeling any different than I normally do will help me do my job better this week.
When you're assembling a team, how do you know whether the parts will fit together?
That's an interesting question. You could take a lot of directions. So I don't want to sit here and act like I was some maestro or genius, and it's just not like that. When you build a team, and this is what maybe fans or just people that don't build teams understand, there's never a master plan that works. It's literally one decision that leads to the next decision. Then you react from those two decisions to the next decision. So you're always kind of like pivoting and figuring it out as you go. And, there's no, you could say, yeah, I like big guys. Okay, let's recruit big guys. But you can't say, I like a 6'11" big guy that's left-handed that shoots threes. Like, this is not how it works. It's what you get. So for me, I guess the best answer to your question, I think you look at the personalities. Will the personalities mesh? For one. Two, will the team settle into a hierarchy that is effective and they all accept? Those types of things I think you would think about. And then it comes down to, kind of what do you want your identity to be, as you play. And, obviously, to me, the best programs have an identity. And, it doesn't have to be, forever cast in stone, but you have an identity. And obviously we want to be a big physical team that has some good athletes, that, is good decision makers and plays with pace, good defensively. So you just start looking for those kind of players that fit the mold. For me, so I start, maybe I evaluate body types a little bit, like, okay, will this fit in our system? If I want to dominate the glass, I probably want bodies that reflect that. So, yeah, I would say that. But what I don't want to do is I don't want you to make me out to like I had some magical vision that just I put together. Because if I did, I would do it every year.
You talked about the halftime of the Purdue game, you and the coaches walked out and let the players talk amongst themselves. How much do you wonder what your leaders are saying? Does Jaden or anything ever come to you and say, look, coach, this is what I told them?
I'll say this, like I don't do a lot of press conferences with our guys, because, usually, one way or another, they sit up here and you guys ask me too many questions and you don't ask them enough questions. So, the NCAA, you do it with the guys, and the players go first. So I have to sit there and listen, and it's fascinating for me because, when I hear them repeat the things we talk about, behind the scenes, naturally, I know we're doing something. So I don't worry about what they would or wouldn't say, because I know our guys are about the right thing, and all that moment was. I don't want. Let's not act like I stormed out of there and told our guys that you guys suck. You guys got to figure this out. That was never the case. We did our normal routine, and the timeouts and the half times are long. I didn't want our guys going out there way too early, so I just said, hey, you guys take a few minutes, take a breath, and kind of figure this thing out. And that's it. and I walked out. But I had talked to him before, and we had showed him film before. It was so I don't want to make it like it was this monumental thing where I pounded my fist on the table and broke the whiteboard and told him to figure it out, because that wasn't the case at all.
Being your first Final Four, have you solicited any advice from some of the people in your coaching past on how to get a team ready for a tournament of this moment?
I mean, you talk to coaches a little bit, but I think the main thing is, you got to be authentic to who you have been as a person and as a coach, and who your team has been. And so we're just going to go and we're going to be ourselves, and we're going to prepare like we always do. We're, I don't know if there's any, magic idea or formula. I mean, because what works for another team may not work for us. So I haven't too much.
Florida Atlantic a couple of years ago, going up against Dusty May, did you kind of feel like it was inevitable he was going to end up at a bigger program?
I don't know. Maybe he could have been Mark Few. I mean, not bad. The guy just got in the Hall of Fame staying at one place. So, I didn't know Dusty well enough. I know Dusty a little bit. Great guy. Obviously an exceptional coach. And, in that game, I just remember at the end of it being impressed for how well prepared they were. But I mean, obviously he was having a bunch of success. He was going to have a lot of opportunities. And it looks like to me he made a pretty good decision.
Speaking of Few, I don't know if it's been made official, but I mean, since it's kind of out there, just thoughts on your mentor getting in. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, unbelievable. Really cool. Just think back to, being along for the ride, and just honestly, how many normal moments we had. I mean, there was no one ever talked about, being in the Hall of Fame, or, honestly, even back in the day, going to the Final Four. I mean, one of the coolest things, that I remember is, when I had decided to take the Arizona job. I went to our practice facility at Gonzaga. It was the end of COVID. We had just lost the national championship. And Fewy was in there by himself in the workout room, walking around without shoes on, and just, kind of, doing his deal in there. And, I went in and said, hey, I'm going to take the Arizona job, and, thank you for everything. And he just said to me, he's like, who would have thought, when we started this deal, that we would have lost 2 national championship games and Arizona would be hiring Gonzaga's assistant. And I thought that was pretty powerful statement. And who would have thought that, he would be a Hall of Fame coach? And honestly, that's how we've always approached it. We've had no grand plan or master plan or ideas, or we're never chasing any of these things. We just wanted to be good basketball coaches and be good people.
Is he going to be there?
Yeah, he'll be there. He and his whole family will be there for sure.
Lines, Tommy, I mean, obviously last week you said the game was about the players, but for a lot of us that have watched this sport forever, the coaches are a big deal. I mean, John Wooden, John Thompson, Lute Olson, Bobby Knight, and you've had a chance to go up against legendary coaches like John Calipari, like Bill Self. What does that mean for you when you get a chance to face a coach like that and coach against the best in the game?
Well, it's humbling, to know that, that young kid was religiously watching those games on TV and reading everything he could about those coaches, gets to compete against them. I've been at it for a few years now, so now you have a lot of relationships with them. And, I mean, I talked to Coach Self after, he called me, after the regular season and everything. And, true gentleman, just wanted to congratulate me and thought we did a great job and really liked our team. And he said, hey, I hope we get to play you this weekend in Kansas City. And I'm like, yeah, that'll be great. And what he said was true. He said, no, not that I want to beat you. I just want to play against the best. And I thought, that's pretty powerful. And that's for me. I love playing against those teams, because you get a chance to play against the best. How many times in your life do you get to go out there and compete against somebody else who's great at what they do? And so it's an awesome challenge, and it's an awesome honor.
Coach, when you first stepped off the bus coming back from San Jose, can you just tell us a little bit about what you were feeling with all these fans here outside at 1 a.m?
Well, I mean, it was amazing, for one. And the first thing, they sent me off the bus first just to protect Briggs from all the fans. Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome to see that people, were so excited and care that much, And, what makes my job really cool is people care. People care both ways, and it brings people together and it makes people emotional. My wife, I don't read a lot of this stuff, but she shared, an article with me on, about all the people saying what it means to them, and like, man, you almost tear up, hearing these people, the guy, a guy that works at the university here, told me that his neighbor told him that it was the last 25 years, this is the best thing that's happened in his life, and during that time, the guy's gotten married and had 3 kids. So I was like, wow, pretty cool.
Did you see the video of the toddler singing Air Down or U of A in the crib after?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't.
There's a video of someone let their 20-month-old stay up to watch the game, and then they had the camera on him in the bed, and he's just doing like the U of A. Yeah, I mean, but you've mentioned that so many times about the resonation of the
Yeah.
community here, so that probably doesn't surprise you.
I mean, a 20-year-old that can remember and sing a song, that's impressive. A 20-month-old. Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. What's really cool, from my experience here is just the generational aspect of the program and how it brings families together, and it's multiple generations that have, kind of bond over it. I think that's really special.
I was talking to Addison. He's been the OG of your programming. I was here that first year. I was wondering what has he brought? I mean, obviously we talked about him, the Gronk thing, but behind the scenes, and then especially after he came back from the mission and
I mean, no. Addison, this guy, has a contagious energy. He's a servant of the program, and he just brings a positivity every day to work. And on top of that, he's a good basketball player. I mean, he really pushes our guys in practice, and and he takes his role serious, and he's really professional. I mean, Addison, I'm sure if he wants to coach or whatever he wants to do in the future, he's definitely off to a good start.
I was just curious how behind the scenes anyway with Bryce and Mobile as far as how they are developing.
They're doing great. Both have made real progress physically over the course of this year, and as basketball players, they've really helped us in practice. And I think both of them are trending in the right direction. They've both been great young men to have in the program.
I figured there'd be a lot of people wanting to talk to Bryce, and I know he hasn't been. You guys have he hasn't been in the local open locker rooms because he hasn't had to. I didn't know, was there kind of a thought of what to do with him as far as that, 'cause
I mean, like I've always told you, we love Bryce. Bryce is an important part of our team, and we're going to give Bryce the space and opportunity to develop into a young man just like everybody else. We also understand there's a certain scrutiny that comes with, who he is. And we just want to protect him. We want to protect him because, I mean, to me, listen, the coolest story is going to be this. Everyone give him space. Let him be his own 18, 19-year-old kid. I think he's going to develop into a good enough player to play at Arizona. That would be a kick-ass story. And that's the story I want to be a part of. I'm not trying to be part of a media circus or him, whatever, doing this or that. I want to help Bryce as a basketball player, and so that's been our focus, and we're not gonna change course on that,
Ask one last question on fans. How important is it for you and for the team for fans to travel to Indy?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, in San Jose, our fans were awesome, and I may have caught some flack for some years because I probably give some honest feedback from my perspective. But our fans are always they're great. They are great. To me, the telling thing that a coach wants from his fans, you want them to show up, you want them support, you want that unconditional love, all that stuff. But when things get tough, you want them to pull you through it. You don't want them to get nervous. And sometimes, they get a little bit nervous. And when they get nervous, you know, you just feel the angst. They didn't get nervous in San Jose. They may have been nervous, but they were fighting. They were fighting for us, and you felt it in that in that arena. And somebody told me after, you know, and sometimes I'm oblivious to stuff, but it felt like at times it was as loud as it was in McHale, which, you know, that makes a massive difference. A massive difference. So I was so proud of our fan base because they were part of that victory. They were participants. They were contributors. You know, they weren't just there watching. So that's awesome. Yeah, and we want the same thing. I know Indy's going to be awesome. I mean, I'm sure I won't get out too much, but there's going to be, you know, a lot of Arizona jerseys, a lot of whatever, all these guys wearing these flat bill Arizona hats that everyone wears now or whatever, and a lot of the school colors flying around out there. It's going to be really cool.
Motias Kribas has 9 assists in the NCAA tournament. He had 10 in the previous 14 games to that. What do you think's led to that uptick?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to go watch, but Mo has been making real progress, you know, offensively, in the sense that, you know, I think he's going to, you know, eventually develop into a dominant offensive player. But right now, what I really like is just his ability we can play through him a little bit, because it just adds a different element to your offense if you can pop the ball inside, and if they play him one-on-one, you know, he can get to a power move or a jump hook. If they bring a second defender, we can kick it out and create rotations and play out of that, you know. So it gives you a nice added element to your offense, and to see him do that has been great.
Bigs are really good at that principle of verticality type of defense. Who teaches that on your staff?
Shimmick Karnofsky.
What goes into being good at it?
Shimmick Karnofsky, that's what he gave us. Shimmick, honestly, and I'm not joking saying that rule was changed towards the end of Shimmick's, or during his college career at Gonzaga, and, you know, we had this guy that was, you know, a monster, and you know, but wasn't the big time shot blocker, but was, you know, as broad as he was tall, and so we kind of started working on this vertical contesting deal, because that's when the rule kind of changed, you know, and honestly, I think it's probably been the best rule change in college basketball in the past 20 years. I think it's made the game that much more interesting. I think the next thing is, you know, not we're going to get off topic here, but, like, you know, can we go to the FIBA rule where guys can knock the ball off to the rim? I think that would be interesting, you know, to add to the game. But that's it. So Shimmick was great at that. So I kind of learned how to teach that through coaching Shimmick, and it's a principle we carry into our defense. We work on it with every team. Some guys are better than others at it, but Mo has really grown in that area. You know, Mo's probably blocking a few more shots than Shimmy was, but you definitely know. And listen, I know those two worked on it together the past couple of years. I mean, that's done with intent for sure.
You had Perez Johnson for 2 years,
Yeah.
McKinney for 1, I think.
Yeah.
What's your take on those
Awesome
guys?
kids. I mean, they're just outstanding young men, and you know, Rez and I developed a really, you know, close relationship in the 2 summers we were together, you know, as much as we could. He's you know, just a high character ass kicker, and just a great guy to be around every day. He's mature, you know, about everything, and I just was super impressed with them, and I'm really happy to see him having the success he's having. And Trey, you know, I had Trey 2 years ago, and Trey's you know, serious. He's a workhorse, can really shoot the basketball, and just another high character, great guy. I mean, I have nothing but positive thoughts, you know, about those 2 guys.
Chance he was going to come for U19, or what? Or he wasn't in camp yet, right? Or...
No, he didn't come to camp. I think he decided, you know, he just wanted to work out, and, you know, and a side story, so did Merez. And then I called Merez, and I'm like, Merez, no. I need you. Like, we really needed you on this team. He was a difference maker on that gold medal team, and he was just such an important part of it. And I'm glad we were able to talk him into coming.
I'm guessing him and Koa will match up a lot. How did you use those 2 when they were on the floor together, or were
I mean,
they?
they're both. It's not hard to play 2 good players together. So you just played them together like we normally would. Nothing special.
Throughout the season, you talked about how Koa has that winning mentality, and he's proved it before he even got to Arizona. How do you think that mentality has helped him thrive throughout the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, Koa has a fearlessness and a belief in himself that's special. And, you know, I really think he goes into these games, you know, feeling like he's an important piece to us winning, and he's not afraid to put himself out there and make the plays that he thinks can impact winning and put out the effort he knows will impact winning. So yeah, he's a ferocious competitor, and you know, in that second half, I mean, I just vividly remember him kind of 3 times missing the first shot, landing and laying it up before anybody could do anything on the second shot, and that's really impressive stuff.
One question on Zoom here real quick. One question. Jason, go ahead if you got one.
Got two for you. The family environment after the game in San Jose, a lot of kids on the court and parents and all that. How important is that to the culture of your program?
I mean, that is our program, and you know, that's how, you know, my kids were all raised, you know, in the locker room at Gonzaga and climbing the bleachers when we were practicing, and yeah, I mean, and so I want our program to be the same, you know. Nate's son Coy's at practice all the time, and I think it's just great to have those young kids around the players, and for the young kids to see their dads working. So yeah, so I love that. I love the family aspect, you know, and we've kind of made it a deal this year, you know, when we go on one of these, you know, tournaments, that, you know, right when we land, all the coaches and their families, we all go out and have our own little dinner together. And I just think that's time. It's really important that our wives feel like they're part of it, you know, because they're making a lot of sacrifices to allow us to do what we do.
Jason's got one more.
With ADO, I mean, last year against Oregon in the tournament, he comes off the bench and makes all those free throws. This year, you know, he hits that big shot. Just what's the value of his role, just beyond his ability to come in and step up, maybe, you know, after sitting for a bit and being able to just come right in and hit those big shots?
Yeah, I mean, he's got that sniper mentality, and you know, I mean, I was kind of feeling like maybe we weren't using him enough that last game, but just maybe it's kind of how the game is going out. But when we put him in that stretch in the second half, I mean, he made that 3, and I think he had another 3 right in front of our bench that I felt like he could have made. But yeah, I mean, it's really important to have a guy that has that skill set and that confidence and belief in himself to kind of come in maybe in certain pinch hitting roles and be able to deliver.
You have embraced staying in the moment so well, you and your guys, throughout the season. I imagine tomorrow night when you step off the plane in Indianapolis, you'll have to also embrace the fact that you're on college basketball's biggest stage at the Final Four. How do you both do that and stay in the moment and prepare for Michigan on Saturday?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, it's like I got to earlier. You know, I think the messaging is really important. You know, that, you know, there's 2 experiences at the Final Four. There's the fan experience, and then there's the player team experience. And we're in the player team experience. So, you know, we need to go there understanding that this isn't a field trip. You know, this is a business trip. And we need to treat it as such. And then, you know, we've worked really hard at talking about and understanding what it is to be in the moment. And so we're gonna double down on what we've done. And, you know, I mean, I'm not guaranteeing it'll work by any stretch, because, you know, the competition's formidable. But to me, I think that's the best formula, is to stick with what got you there, and double down on your strengths, and you know, that's what we're going to try to do.
Last one, Bruce, you got one more.
Tommy, I was just wondering, somebody asked me, and I'm sure, when you made that comment in San Jose about there's going to be a great coach after me, I know you've made similar comments like that before about the program history, but some people were taking that to think, well, maybe he's going to go. So what do you make of that, and has anything changed, being as there still is talk out there?
It's absolutely true. There's going to be another coach. This is a great program. I didn't say when. You know, I mean, and people are going to speculate all they want. Guys, this team has my full focus. Nothing, I promise you, nothing is knocking me off that path. And you guys might call them distractions because you're distracted. That doesn't mean I'm distracted or we're distracted. You know what's pretty cool? Once you get some experience in this deal, and you're a player or you're a coach who's been at it a while, you get pretty good at, you know, eliminating the distractions. So I think I'm pretty good at that. And I just can't wait to get to practice today. I'm going to go meet with the staff right now. We're probably a little bit late. That's why Nate's pushing me to get up there. And I'm going to go try to have a good practice.
Since you answered that question, or when Seth asked you the question last week. You know,
Full focus right now. Yep. Thanks, guys.